Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with a real estate investor, real estate agent, top 1%, and TV star, Laura Morby. How you doing, Laura?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. So one of the things that I think is coming is a recession, right? I think the business cycle is real, right? You have expansions, you have contractions, you have all these things. I think, first and foremost, a recession is coming. The argument would be when. I think we may have it next year, if not next year, certainly the year after. But what I wanted to do with you, because we've both been doing real estate for about 20 years or so, is talk about real estate investing, real estate owner ox, all of that in a recession, because I think a lot of people would be surprised what happens in real estate, when there's a recession going on. So when I say recession in real estate, what does your kind of, real estate agent mind think of?
This is probably really unhealthy, and I've said this and I've upset a lot of people. So if anyone's watching this and gets upset, I'm so sorry, but I think money.
Yeah.
Like I think bags and bags of money. I think just checks and checks. And the reason why is because that's all I did during the recession is I worked for investors, and I saw how much opportunity the recession actually brings. And I worked for one of the smartest guys here in the Valley. And I talked about him a few times. Again, he's my age, which is hilarious. So it's like, I'm watching him do this, what is that close to 15 years ago now?
Yeah.
And I'm watching him do this 15 years ago. And I'm like, I don't know my butt from a hole in the ground. And here you are, you somehow pivoted from being just a retail real estate agent. And now you're just raking in the cash. Because of his, just some people's brains, I'll tell you what, but he recognized the opportunity and he was able to turn lemons, true lemons into lemonade. And he's one of the most, one of the people that, he's the reason why I say you have to be a chameleon in real estate, because he can change his strategy and figure out like what people are doing and how they're making money. And he will always make money his whole life. I'm not worried about him in the slightest, because he was able to pivot and change. And he was able to buy from a trustee sale, start doing short sales. He started his own trustee sale bidding company. He was able to do, he had so many flips going on, to the point where people also were afraid to flip. And so people were coming to him with their money, like, take my money.
Yeah.
And I'll take a percentage of what you're making, just because like somehow you figured it out. And so, yeah, that was probably one of the busiest times in my life. And so what does that tell you? That there's opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, I think we need to peel this back, right? Because again, if you're a real estate agent, real estate broker, flipper, wholesaler today, right? Not a recession today, the easiest thing to do is sell something. Yeah. Right. You get it under contract, you list it, you sell it, you make some money. It was obviously easier in April than December, but still relatively easy.
Still easy, yeah.
Yeah, still relatively easy. If you go into a recession, first thing that's going to go backwards is your buyers, right? Buyers get scared.
They don't want to buy.
They don't want to buy, right? So the retail buyer retreats, right? Gone. Poof. Your list of 15 goes to 2 or something like that, right? Hi, Corbin. So again, right? So your retail buyer, because again, I've been watching the consumer for almost 30 years. They are very easy to predict. When it's a good time, they're buying, they're competing, right? And then recession, they get scared, they retreat. And a recession, I use this joke all the time. You know the difference between a recession and a depression?
No. What's a joke?
Recession is when your neighbor is unemployed. A depression is when you're unemployed.
True. Yeah.
Right. Because if in a recession, if your neighbor's unemployed, your job, you're still paying your bills, you're just retreating, you're saving a little bit more, you're not doing the fancy vacation or buying the third car because you're nervous.
Yes.
But your neighbor, right? They're looking for a job. Maybe they have to move out of state. Maybe they got to move back with family. That's kind of the difference between recession and depression. But what happens is retail buyers retreat. Then what will happen is time goes by, because the beauty about real estate is it's not stocks. It doesn't happen overnight.
No.
You have days, weeks, months where you really start to figure out who needs to sell.
Right.
And when you have someone that needs to sell, that is the thing called a motivated seller.
Yep.
And when you are a truly motivated seller, you want out.
Out.
You just gone. That's why if you have equity, you're willing to take a discount. It's if you can't, that's why sub 2 will be amazing, I think, in the next recession, because you just went out, because we want that cheap 30-year debt, which most people have today. So yeah, I think it is opportunity, bags of money. But you do have to pivot, right? As an agent, your job's going to get harder because there are just not as many buyers.
No.
And probably be more sellers.
Yep.
So then you have to go get investors. You have to figure out which listing really is motivated, which is not. First thing I want to tell real estate agents, in the next recession, your job's going to get harder. But if you pivot or become a chameleon, you can be the person who solves problems. Would you think that's true?
Oh, 100%. I was also super emotionally fulfilled during that time of my life too, because I was a part of the solution. I was actually helping real life people that were going through just absolutely terrible things. And so it was incredibly emotionally fulfilling as well. And that's one of the things is like, sometimes I'll talk to people and they're like, oh yeah, I was a realtor. Yeah, I just got out of the business in 2008. I just didn't see the point in it. And then you also see a lot of, realtors who are living in $1 million houses and driving, BMW M6s, get those repossessed, the house foreclosed on, and they're back living in mom and dad's basement. Same thing for loan officers, because again, they were making so much money prior to it happening, and then they refused to pivot. And they were like, well, my old business model isn't working. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to a 9 to 5. I'm going to, I'm done. I don't even want to pay for my license anymore.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like I was just trying to survive. So I had no choice. I was single. I had a small child. I had to figure it out, and I figured it out. And so, yes, you're right. Like you're a part of the solution. You're solving people's problems. And so there's emotional equity you get in that. And then also you are think about the light years ahead of education I got during that time. Because all the different things I was forced to learn and be a part of that most retail real estate agents still don't understand because they just don't want to learn it.
Yeah, because the real estate cycles there are cycles, they come and go. And again, I always talk about people having 10-year memories in a 12-year cycle. So the last 2 years, we're repeating the mistakes of the past, which again, go watch video 1.
Yeah.
What's happening today in multifamily. But yeah, I mean, short sales, those things, if those are all things, deed in lieu, all, buying at the courthouse steps, all this stuff will come back into vogue at different levels. But I would tell you, yeah, again, real estate brokers, money lenders, you got to realize your job will be different in a recession.
Yeah.
And if you do pivot and you become part of the solution, it is actually very rewarding. It's harder work. You'll probably make a little bit less money.
Yes.
But you will. I can't tell you how many people thanked me last time when I took over their loan or I bought their house from them.
Yeah.
It's like, thank you. Now I can move to X. I can leave this bad scene behind me and move on. It was, you get some of the most, rewarding things helping somebody close a chapter in their life.
I completely agree. And other than doing home investors, the We Buy Ugly Houses, I don't think that I felt that emotional equity in my career since then. And so there is a part of me that, obviously it's going to happen when, I don't know, maybe next year, but I'm looking forward to being able to have an emotional connection with people and actually feel like I'm making a difference again. So you make a difference when you help someone buy a house. I'm not saying you don't. I'm not saying it's not exciting. It's
a different depth.
It's a completely different thing. And so I am excited to be a part of that again. And I'm also excited to make a lot of money. I feel like it's never going to be the exact same. It's not but I feel like I have, some tools in my tool belt that I can pull back out and dust off and make some good money again. So,
Yeah, the other thing I want to talk about, because again, a recession is coming. Not only will real estate agents, mortgage brokers have to step up and change into a chameleon, but I also want to admit that there are a lot of wholesalers and flippers are going to go bust, just like last time. If they don't change, they don't buy rate, they don't slow down, they don't manage their cost of capital, get longer debt. I mean, I saw plenty of flippers again go bye-bye in the last crisis.
Yeah, I mean, that's what, I mean, even Jamil will talk about what happened to him last time. He was doing great as an investor, as a flipper, as a wholesaler, and he lost everything. He was over leveraged. He had bad buys that assumed appreciation, and he even lost his parents' house. He'll tell you about that. Like, that was extremely painful for him. But I think that the difference is like, think about who Jamil is now, and it's because he didn't give up. And so I think that's another thing too, is like, who am I now? It's because I didn't give up. I wasn't listening to people being like, why are you doing real estate right now? Go do anything else. This is the worst time. And I'm like, or it's the best time. Exactly. That was my attitude. So if you want to learn and you want to keep going, if you want to pick yourself up and dig out of that hole, then do it. But you're right. There'll be a lot of people who will fail to the point where they're just out. But then just remember that a lot of us have failed. And if you stick with it and you learn and you change, and guess what, Jamil, that will never happen to Jamil again.
Oh yeah, that's where I wanted to close on this. Is if you're out there looking for a mentor or someone, I strongly suggest you find somebody that was doing it pre and post crash, whether they lost stuff or not, because they set their business up entirely different. If you're following somebody that's been doing this for 4 years, good luck, because they are very likely to repeat the mistakes of last time, which is over leverage, bad structure, short term. It's yeah, be careful, folks, because a recession is coming. The only argument is when.
Yep. And if you lose some money, I mean, I know people get mad too, but like, please keep going, because there's 100% money to be made during a recession.
Absolutely.
And it's funny too, because like, people got out and then came back in once it started to go well. But I also know people who are making really good money during the recession and just totally have put their life on pause.
Yeah.
As things are good, they're not even playing the game right now, and they're just waiting for another crash because they just want to do it again. And think about this decade of time that they've missed out on opportunity too. So again, it's just about pivoting. It's about being a chameleon. It's about learning new things, and it's about not giving up. I mean, we're all going to lose money at some point. Hopefully not a lot, hopefully not everything, but you know, I mean, there are people that still exist that are successful now, almost 15 years later, who lost everything, including their parents' house.
Yeah, very, very cool. Well, Laura, this is a great conversation this Sunday morning. How would you like people to reach out and follow you?
Instagram would be great. My Instagram is Laura Marby, no spaces.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, too.